One of the problems the team had last year was that the midfielders struggled to get into the box and score. The first 3 goals today were all scored by midfielders, in a match that got complicated after Asensio was sent off. I don't know if this is one of those coincidences football has, or if your week of training was focused on getting the midfielders into the box, more than, say, they did last year.
Well, wow, lots of questions. Okay, last year, some things happened, and I'm not going to say that the fact that 3 goals were scored at home today is because we've specifically worked on that. No, I'm not going to wear that medal. It's more about the quality the players have. But yes, we did talk after the sending off about staying compact and that once we got past the initial phase, they could push forward. It wasn't something we worked on all week. It was more something we talked about during the cooling break. We wanted to stretch the pitch a bit with Vini and Gonzalo on the last line and let others arrive into the box. Then it comes down to their quality. The finishes were fantastic. Jude's first one, Arda's second one. It came at a really tough time. Being down to 10 men in the 7th minute, you have to change your plan. The team showed defensive sacrifice, discipline. We gave up more control to the opponent, but managed the game without the ball. We knew that once we recovered possession, we could hit them. That's how the goals came. It gave us confidence in what we were doing, even after halftime. The 3rd goal was really important in case we conceded as we did, so we wouldn't feel under pressure at the end. So yes, I think this win gives us a big boost, both tactically and emotionally, to keep competing in this tournament.
I want to ask about the second half, about the switch you made, moving Arda to a different position. That's when Madrid started to look more comfortable, and that's when the first and second goals came. It was a really good spell. How satisfied are you with that period, and how concerned are you that Thibaut had to make 10 saves? Do you put that down solely to being a man down?
Probably yes. Having to defend in such a low block with 10 men is a direct consequence. And you have to know how to suffer in those moments to stay humble and understand the game situation. And I think we did. We formed 2 lines of 4 with Vini a bit further up, connecting with him and then breaking forward with Gonzalo or one of the 2 midfielders. The back line also did well, holding the box. And then we had some good spells of possession too. Like I said, this was a game you had to read based on situations more than tactical plans because what we prepared before the match was with 11, not 10. But considering how it went, we take a lot of positives and most importantly, the 3 points.
The other day you said Asensio's mistake was avoidable. Would you describe today's the same way?
Yes.
And what happened at the end of the match? Between Rüdiger and Cabral, you calmed Rüdiger down. Was there a racist insult toward the German player?
Tony mentioned something to us. We support Tony and we'll see what happens. Now, I believe FIFA's protocol gets activated to investigate, but if it did happen, measures will be taken and we're behind Antonio. This kind of behavior is unacceptable and all levels of football are clear. There's 0 tolerance for it. If it happened, let them take action. That's what Antonio told us and we believe him.
What exactly did he say to Rüdiger?
They're investigating that now.
Of course, playing with 1 man down for almost the whole match is very difficult, especially tactically. How has your team changed from the first match to this second one?
I wouldn't say we were able to show what we've been working on over the past few days, not even based on the pre-match talk, because we had to adapt to the game's circumstances. But we did stick to basic principles, maintaining good balance, keeping distances, defending in the right positions, and when we had the ball, we had to hold on to it longer, switch play from side to side, and help the team settle into rhythm. Today, the temperature was high, but the humidity wasn't as bad as before, so the players felt a bit better.
I'd like to ask you about Mbappe. Do you think he'll recover in time for Thursday's match?
Yes, well, I'm really hoping to have him back with us, but we have to see how he progresses day by day, how he feels. Now we're taking a flight back to Florida, and we're hoping Mbappe can be with us again.
I wanted to ask if you had the chance to watch Pachuca's number 28, Elías Montiel. There's a story that during the Intercontinental final, Florentino Perez spoke to him and said he liked his performance and that he was on the right path. That's according to the player himself. Could you share your impressions of this midfielder?
Yes, he's a young player, but with a strong presence, right? I've seen him, I won't say I've seen a lot of him, but I watched him today and I saw him against LLE and against Salzburg. You can tell, like, he's a player with good control and he clearly has a bright future ahead of him.
Earlier this week, you mentioned that playing in this heat in the US can be tough. Even though your team won, do you think the performance would have been better if it weren't for the weather conditions here?
Well, normally, yes, it helps when the weather is cooler, but hey, it is what it is. Complaining about it won't change anything. And in 4 days in Philadelphia, temperatures are supposed to drop by 10 degrees. We just have to accept it. And look, you don't need to be an aerospace engineer to know that when it's cooler, it's easier to run and play comfortably.
Sometimes in football, what it takes away one day, it gives back the next. The other day, Fede missed that penalty. Today, he scores the 3-0 goal, bursting through like a knife. With your vast experience as a former player, have you ever seen a player with that kind of physical performance? He looks like he's not on game 60 of the season, but more like game 1.
Honestly, not many. Not many at all. He reminds me a bit of Steven Gerrard's profile, a player who covers so much ground, who can accelerate, make those 30, 40-meter runs, has an incredible shot, and arrives powerfully from deep. If you tell him to play on the right, he can. If you tell him to play centrally, he can do that too. That's why I'm so happy to be coaching him. I think almost every coach would love to have a Fede Valverde in their team, and yes, I'm really happy for him. For me, it doesn't change whether he scores or misses a penalty, but for him, it probably helps clear that feeling. You could see it in his celebration today, that passion, that fire Fede has.
We know coaching Real Madrid is very different from coaching Bayer Leverkusen. What are the challenges of managing Real Madrid?
There are many challenges, clearly. The main one is to build an identity, a clear idea of how we're going to recognize ourselves as a team. This is something we build little by little, match by match, and it takes time. We're currently in the middle of that phase. That's the big challenge we're facing right now, and we want to give everything to compete in these tournaments.
Modric, everywhere he plays, here in the US and of course in Spain, he gets ovations. You know him so well. How are you experiencing this moment, this kind of last dance, if you will?
It's emotional. Emotional because he deserves it for who he is. And I just hope he's enjoying it too. Because that affection, that recognition he receives from the football world, I think it's universal. Obviously, Real Madrid fans admire him, but even fans of other clubs, neutral or not, recognize Luka's legendary world-class status. And today, he went out and had another great performance.